Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here today. It's an absolute pleasure to talk to you about a car that truly left its mark on automotive history, the 1955 Chrysler C300. This car wasn't just a machine, it was a statement. A bold, roaring, elegant statement that reshaped Chrysler's image and influenced the high-performance car culture in the United States. Now, let me take you back to the early 1950s. Chrysler, at that time, was seen primarily as a maker of reliable but conservative vehicles. They had solid engineering, but they lacked the excitement or flair that younger drivers were starting to crave. Chevrolet had the Corvette, Ford had the Thunderbird, Chrysler, well, they had the Windsor and the New Yorker, nice cars, but they weren't exactly stirring up much buzz. The company needed something different, something that would shout performance and style, something that would redefine what a Chrysler could be. That's where the C300 comes in. In 1955, Chrysler introduced the C300 as part of its new, Forward Look, campaign. And wow, what a forward look it was. Designed by Virgil Exner, the car was sleek, muscular, and modern. It had a no-nonsense, almost aggressive front grille borrowed from the Imperial, wide and imposing like the snarl of a beast. The roofline was smooth and clean, the fenders were restrained, and the rear carried just the right amount of flair. It looked like speed even when it was standing still. But what really made the C300 stand out wasn't just its looks. It was what lay under the hood. The car came with a 331 cubic inch HEMI V8 engine, a brute of a motor with solid lifter camshafts, dual 4-barrel carburetors, and a 10.01 compression ratio. It delivered an incredible 300 horsepower. That number, back in 1955, was nothing short of astonishing. It was, in fact, the most powerful American production car at that time. And that's where the 300 in its name came from, 300 horsepower. This wasn't just a number to brag about. That power translated into real performance. The C300 could go from 0 to 60 in under 10 seconds, which was blazing fast for a car of its size and weight. It had a top speed of around 130 miles per hour, and its handling was praised for being tight and responsive, thanks in part to its heavy-duty suspension and low-slung chassis. Road and Track even called it America's hottest stock car. And they weren't exaggerating. The C300 was built not just for the showroom, but for the racetrack. It dominated NASCAR and AAA stock car competitions in 1955. It won 37 major races that year, and its drivers and engineers proved that Chrysler could not only build a fast car but one that could survive the rigors of serious competition. It was fast, tough, and reliable. There's something poetic about the way Chrysler built the C300. They didn't try to reinvent the wheel. Instead, they took the best parts from their luxury line, the Imperial grille, the New Yorker body, and the Windsor coupe roofline, and combined them with that HEMI powerhouse to make a car that looked refined but performed like a beast. It was luxury and muscle in one package, the first true muscle car by many standards. And it wasn't just a car for racers or gearheads. The Chrysler C300 was marketed as a gentleman's sports car. It was expensive for its time, priced at around $4,100, but it offered sophistication alongside power. The interior was plush, with leather bench seats, a full instrument panel, and a dashboard that felt more like a cockpit. It had PowerFlight automatic transmission, power brakes, and power steering. It was a car that could tear up a racetrack by day and cruise down the boulevard by night, turning heads at every stoplight. Only about 1,725 units of the 1955 C300 were made, which makes it quite rare today. That limited production added to its mystique and exclusivity, and it set the stage for what would become a full line of letter cars, the 300B, 300C, and so on, continuing into the 1960s. Each of these cars pushed the envelope of performance and style, but the 1955 model, the original, holds a special place in automotive history. It was the pioneer, the spark, the genesis of American performance luxury. We can't talk about the C300 without appreciating its influence on American car culture. It helped create the idea that a car could be both powerful and refined. Before the C300, high horsepower was mostly found in stripped-down hot rods or racing specials. Chrysler showed that you didn't have to give up comfort or class to enjoy blistering speed. That idea laid the groundwork for muscle cars in the 60s and 70s. You could argue that without the C300, there would be no Pontiac GTO, no Dodge Charger, no Chevy Chevelle SS. Collectors today look at the 1955 C300 as more than just a valuable artifact, it's a turning point. It represents the moment Chrysler stepped out of the shadows and dared to lead. It's the embodiment of a company taking a risk and reaping the rewards, both on the track and in the marketplace. For fans of performance, engineering, and bold design, it remains one of the greats. And let's not forget how ahead of its time the C300 was. In an era where cars were still struggling with balancing speed, safety, and style, Chrysler managed to strike a chord that harmonized all three. The car had a low center of gravity, excellent weight distribution, and one of the stiffest chassis designs of its day. Even the torsion bar suspension, something Chrysler would popularize later, had its roots in the desire to improve handling and ride quality, traits the C300 emphasized. Even now, nearly 70 years later, the sound of that HEMI engine starting up can raise goosebumps. The deep, throaty growl, the subtle rumble at idle, the sharp roar under acceleration, it's like music to a car lover's ears. And it's not just sound and fury. It's precision, it's craftsmanship, it's the echo of a time when engineers and designers worked side by side to create something unforgettable. I know many cars are labeled as the first muscle car. Some point to the 1949 Oldsmobile Rocket 88, others argue for the 64 GTO, but few can match the Chrysler C300 in terms of its combination of raw power, refined design, and real-world racing success. It wasn't just about numbers or looks. It was about impact, influence, legacy. Even its successors, the 300B, C, D, and so on, while powerful and well-regarded, always lived in the shadow of the original. The 1955 C300 wasn't just a great car, it was the start of a dynasty. A statement that Chrysler wasn't content with being second best. They wanted the crown, and in many ways, they earned it with this car. Today, when you see a restored C300 at a car show, it still holds presence. Its long, sculpted body, that wide grille, those signature, gunsight, tail lights, the way it sits low and proud on the pavement, you can feel the respect it commands. You can sense the history behind every curve and contour. And if you're lucky enough to hear one drive by, or better yet, to ride in one, you understand instantly what all the fuss is about. The Chrysler C300 wasn't built to be flashy for the sake of flash. It wasn't built to fit into a mold. It was built to break the mold. To lead, not follow. It was born from bold ideas, executed with engineering excellence, and embraced by enthusiasts who saw in it the future of American driving. So, as we look back on this legendary machine, let's remember it not just as a car, but as a symbol. A symbol of ambition, of craftsmanship, of a moment in time when performance met elegance and created something unforgettable. The 1955 Chrysler C300 will always be more than just a car, it's a legacy on four wheels. Thank you.